The summoning. The Grand Hall of Species, orbital seat of the Galactic Council, gleamed like a monument to order and civilization. Its arches stretched a full kilometer above the polished crystal floor, and holographic banners shimmered for every member race. From the insectoid Churix to the gliding Sauri, over 400 sentient civilizations had gathered in curiosity, confusion, and derision. Today was about the humans. "They've been summoned," Chancellor Vronex announced, his voice filtered through universal translators, "to answer for their incursion into Sector 9F, a protected zone under Imperial authority." Laughter rippled through the hall. Sneering, dismissive, the kind of laughter reserved for unruly children pretending at war. "Typical of savages," scoffed Counselor Weichlen of the Tyler Dominion. "They bypassed protocol. No clearance, no council warrant. They sent tanks of all things. They dragged tracked vehicles into space combat," hissed an aquatic representative through a bubble tank. "Primitive, inefficient, quaint." But then the tremor started. At first, it was a hum, low, mechanical, like thunder trapped inside metal lungs. It grew louder. Beneath the council's shining floor, vibrations began to pulse. Holograms flickered. Dust fell from untouched rafters. A side gate creaked open. From the darkness beyond came the growl of engines, grinding, snarling, and very much alive. The first tank rolled in like a predator unchained. Massive, scorched, its hull bore deep claw marks and energy burns. Spikes had been welded to the front plating. The cannon was still smeared with ash and something darker. Rust? No, blood. Behind it came 5 more, each one a moving monument to brutality. Their tracks scraped against crystal tiles, shattering thousands of credits worth of infrastructure with each turn. The council had expected robes, emissaries, bows, and compromises. They got war. Commander Reyes emerged from the hatch of the lead tank. His armor was mismatched, part Terran steel, part salvaged alien alloy. A burn scar crept down his temple. He didn't smile. He didn't bow. Instead, he walked forward and dropped the helmet onto the floor. It rolled to a stop at the base of the central dais. The council gasped. It was unmistakably alien, horned, scorched, still wet with fluid. The emblem on its side marked it as belonging to a Threxerai, slaver lord. "I'm Commander Nathan Reyes, Terran Defense Initiative," he said. "We received your summons, and we brought evidence." The Emperor's hologram flared to life overhead, flanked by 2 cybernetic guards. His golden robes rippled with indignation. "You are in violation of 72 interstellar ordinances," he boomed. "You brought war machines into a diplomatic forum." "No," Reyes replied coolly. "We brought witnesses." He turned, gesturing to a side hatch. A young girl stepped out, no more than 10 Earth years old, flanked by Terra Marines. She clutched a ragged blanket and stared wide-eyed at the council with haunted silence. "Her name is Lily Harper. She was taken from Eden's Reach along with 73 other children, sold in your protected sector. We found her in a slave pen beneath Threxer's hold." Murmurs exploded into shouts. "Impossible. Propaganda. Human deception." But Reyes wasn't finished. "We sent requests. We filed reports. Your officials told us it was a regional dispute, not under your jurisdiction. So we made it ours." He reached into his belt and pulled out a black chip, tossed it into the air. A hologram blinked on, footage from helmet cams, satellites, drones. The council watched, stunned, as human tanks descended from orbit into Threxer's hold. Laser fire illuminated dust storms. Screams echoed as slaver fortifications were blown apart. Children were carried out by soldiers, some unconscious, some clutching Terran flags. The footage ended with a mass grave. Dozens of alien slavers. No trial. No mercy. Commander Reyes looked up at the silent council. "You want to charge us? Go ahead. But we didn't come here to negotiate. We came to tell you something." He turned to the massive tanks behind him, motioned to the crews within. With synchronized hisses, their main cannons rotated, slowly, deliberately, until they pointed directly at the Emperor's balcony. "This is your warning. Silence. For a full minute, no one spoke. Then the chamber erupted, some species howling in fear, others shouting in anger, many simply stunned. The humans didn't flinch. Reyes looked up at the Emperor's flickering image one last time. You let monsters take our children. We brought justice. And if it happens again, we'll bring extinction. What you let happen. The council chamber had fallen into uneasy silence. Even the ever-chattering Valkyrie scribes, known for recording history in real time, had paused, their 6 hands frozen over glowing tablets. The tanks sat like beasts at rest, their armor stained not just with blood, but truth. Reyes stood unmoved at the center, eyes scanning the dome of watching, judging squirming eyes. He took a breath. You think we came here to intimidate you? You're wrong. A small handheld projector whirred to life. The hologram showed a world of forests and oceans. Eden's Reach, a colony founded just 20 years prior, Earth's shining beacon in the outer rim. It was supposed to be a paradise, Reyes said. And for a while it was families, farms, no war, no crime, just people building something better. The image shifted, sunlight shining on children laughing in fields, adults tending solar farms, forests full of birdsong. Peace. Then the frame froze. We received a distress signal at 0315, Terran Standard Time. Reyes continued, voice flat. By the time we arrived, it was already too late. The next hologram hit harder. Security drone footage, blurry, shaking, captured the moment Threxerai slave skiffs broke through Eden's orbital perimeter. Screams, stun blasts. Mothers pulled away from screaming children. The settlers fought, but with mining tools, not weapons. 27 were killed, 74 taken. And the Empire? Silent. We sent appeals through your channels, Reyes said, pacing. We logged evidence. Sensor trails, transponder codes, witness statements. You responded with bureaucracy. You told us to wait. A counselor from the Jalari Consortium, slender, four-eyed, interrupted, trying to regain control. Commander, your people failed to follow council protocol. There's an official process for. There was no process for kidnapping our children. Reyes roared. The echo slammed into the marble dome. The tanks rumbled again. Reyes turned toward the counselor, eyes like steel. You bureaucrats were sipping syrup and squabbling over trade tariffs while our kids were in cages. You said their planet wasn't technically under protection, that we should file a petition. Do you understand what that sounds like to a parent watching their child dragged into an alien ship? Silence. Reyes let it sit. We found the slavers. Tracked their warp signatures across 3 systems. No help from your navy. No interception. They docked in Threxer's hold, an outpost you funded. A fortress you knew was active. A market your inspectors chose not to see. More murmurs. Angry ones now. This is slander, hissed Counselor Vralik of the Guard Dominion. Reyes ignored him. We launched a strike force, 4 retrofitted freighters, 6 armored tanks, 72 boots on the ground. We descended at night. They didn't expect us. The next projection lit up the dome. Helmet cam footage from Reyes himself. The tanks touched down amid a sandstorm, holes glowing with heat. The Terran forces moved like ghosts, precise, lethal. Guards were neutralized with pulse rounds. Buildings were breached with shaped charges. One tank plowed straight through a stone gate while broadcasting an audio loop. You took the wrong children. In one clip, a Threxerai slaver begged in broken Terran. Trade. Trade. I pay. The reply was a single shot. The council chamber rippled with discomfort. We didn't come to negotiate, Reyes said quietly. We came to get our kids back. Another scene, human soldiers escorting children out of holding pens, some dazed, others sobbing. One little boy had both arms around a Terran flag patch sewn into a soldier's armor. The footage faded. Reyes looked around the room. And when we were done, we left behind a message. A graveyard. Slavers. Collaborators. Anyone who facilitated what you let happen. You executed council citizens, someone stammered. Reyes didn't flinch. No, he said coldly. We executed criminals. You just gave them flags. A counselor from Azaran Unity leaned forward, thin fingers twitching. Why not bring them to trial? Reyes gestured to the hall. Here? In this room? With these people? You couldn't even lift a hand to stop them. Why would we trust you to judge them? The hologram shut off. Reyes stepped back. You may call it vigilantism. We call it parenthood. When the tanks revved slightly. Not as threat, just a reminder. They were still here. Still loaded. Chancellor Vronex slowly stood. This matter demands review. We will recess. And Reyes cut him off. No, we're not here to play your game. You wanted an explanation. Now you have it. But know this. He turned toward the Emperor's flickering image high above. The next time you ignore a human cry for help, we won't just come for the slavers. You mistook our silence for weakness. The council chamber was no longer a place of law. It had become a courtroom with no judge, only the accused, and the ones they had underestimated. Counselor Vralik of the Guard Dominion leaned forward on his segmented limbs, his voice sharp and panicked. You dare threaten this council with war machines? You violate centuries of order. Commander Reyes met his gaze without blinking. You mistook our silence for submission. You thought our restraint was weakness. You thought we needed your permission to defend our own. He took another step forward, boots clicking against crystal tiles cracked by tank treads. We waited. For years, we tried your systems. We play by your rules. And every time, we buried another colony. Another farm raised. Another family broken. A murmur spread through the chamber. Reyes raised a hand. His team responded, activating a second holographic feed. It displayed a series of schematics, Terran tanks, walkers, and atmospheric dropships, all heavily modified with alien components. Energy shields from Zarn wreckage, Gar anti-armor coils, Sari stealth mesh. Stamped on each vehicle, adapt. Overcome. Retaliate. You said we were primitive, Reyes said. You forgot what we do best. We learn. Fast. The feed shifted again, this time to battlefield footage across other sectors. Humans in power armor fighting on sulfur storms in Vultrus 9, trench warfare on frozen Echelon's moon, starship boarding operations where flamethrowers lit alien flesh alight. The gasps in the chamber weren't from fear, they were from realization. Humanity hadn't just retaliated. They had built something dangerous. This footage, murmured Counselor Weichlen, horrified. This was unauthorized. So was kidnapping our children, Reyes snapped. The sorry delegate floated upward in her gravity pod. You claim righteousness, but your campaign could trigger rebellion. Your weapons, your message, it spreads. Reyes didn't deny it. He nodded. It's already spreading. A new image flared behind him. An alien planet. A backwater mining moon known for slave labor. On it, human troops stood side by side with a race of insectoids. The real, long subjugated by imperial law. Together, they toppled a fortress bearing the Empire's banner. The real were watching, Reyes said. So were the Skarn, the Fyric, the Morali. Every species you've taxed, policed, and ignored. You gave them law. We gave them hope. You armed insurgents, shouted the Zarn delegate. No, Reyes said. We gave them the idea that they didn't have to die quietly. The Emperor's voice cut in through the vaulted ceiling, sharp as glass. Enough. His hologram flared in high resolution now. The aged monarch of the Galactic Empire leaned forward, eyes like twin suns. Humanity will surrender all weapons modified from Council species. Cease all paramilitary actions. Disband these coalitions. Or face collective annihilation. Reyes didn't even blink. He turned to the largest tank in the room. Hell Whisper, its name etched into its side in Terran Gothic script. He placed a hand on its armor. I want you to listen, all of you. Not just the Emperor, not just the Council, but every species watching this broadcast. You think we're reckless because we don't quote treaties. You think we're warmongers because we act instead of begging. He stepped away from the tank and faced the Council again. You're wrong. We are what you made us. You showed us a galaxy where power, not principle, decides justice. You let monsters profit from our pain. Reyes raised a small device. One click. The tank's onboard AI projected a final image, a data packet, hundreds of encrypted logs, transactions, and comms, all confirming what humanity had long suspected. Empire officials, council representatives, profiting from slave markets, backdoor deals, and look-the-other-way pacts. Reyes let the evidence hang in the air like a guillotine. That's what this was really about, wasn't it? Not our tanks, not our weapons. Our example. You're afraid. We reminded the galaxy how to say no. Across the chamber, species that had once remained still were now stirring. The insectoid, real delegation stood. They walked silently toward the human formation and stopped beside Reyes. The oldest among them bent one leg, a gesture of alliance in their culture, and spoke into the translator. The Terrans fought for their own. They fight for us now. Then the Sari drifted forward, head bowed. We believed order was peace. But peace without justice is slavery. More followed. Small delegations, independent systems, quiet voices that had never dared speak. Now, they stood beside bloodstained tanks. Now they chose sides. The day the council changed. The Grand Hall of Species had never seen this before. Not in all its shimmering history. Not when the Zarns seceded. Not even during the Council Scourge Wars. Species were defecting, openly, boldly, and they were aligning not with another empire or trade bloc, but with a species the Council had laughed at only hours ago. Humanity. The tanks rumbled again, not forward, but with a gentle vibration, idling. Waiting. Commander Reyes stood beneath the vaulted dome, ringed by unexpected allies. The insectoid real, the aquatic Sari, the flame-skinned Morali. All of them had once sat silently in this hall, voiceless under imperial rule. Now, their silence had broken. The Emperor's hologram burned hotter above them, anger barely contained. You have committed acts of rebellion, he spat. You will leave this hall under arrest, or you will be annihilated in orbit. Do not mistake your theatrics for power. Reyes met the threat with calm steel. We didn't come here to be heard. We came to make sure you listened. He turned, walking slowly across the chamber as his voice echoed. Do you know what this place reminds me of? He asked. Marble floors, gold trim, alien symbols of peace carved into every wall. It looks a lot like the UN back home. Big walls, big talk, small action. He stopped in front of the central dais. Your council is built on rules you won't enforce, laws you won't apply equally, and species you exploit while calling it unity. The tanks turned again, their barrels now pointed at the golden seal of the Empire embedded in the chamber floor. We didn't come to start a war, Reyes said, but you made one the moment you told us our children didn't matter. The chamber lights flickered. A new feed crackled to life, this one from orbit. Dozens of ships, marked with Earth and allied insignias, drifted in formation. Not massive fleets, just strike craft, dropships, converted freighters. But they were waiting. The message was clear. We're not alone anymore. The Emperor tried to regain control. This assembly is a sham. These insurgents are unrecognized. The Council will not tolerate. The Council interrupted a new voice. Counselor Mirese of Asari. She floated forward, her usually tranquil voice hard-edged. There is no council if it protects slavers. There is no law if you silence justice. We vote now. Chaos rippled across the hall. Votes were rare. Emergency votes? Unheard of. Mirese raised a trembling hand. Motion to revoke the Empire's executive authority over protected trade zones and suspend its military powers pending investigation. Gasps. Then the tall, chitin-covered Real raised a claw. Seconded. One by one, delegates stood. Others protested, shouted, fled. But the count began. The old order was breaking in real time. Reyes turned to his lieutenant beside the tank. It's happening. She nodded once. I'll be damned. The final vote flashed in the air, projected in a dozen languages. Motion passed, 222 to 127. There it was. After 600 years, the Empire no longer held sole dominion over the galaxy's borders. The Emperor's image shattered in a blaze of static. Cut off. Commander Reyes stepped back. The tank crews stood down. The guns powered down, their warnings given, their purpose complete. We're done here, Reyes said. You're leaving? Counselor Weichlin asked, voice soft, shaken. We weren't here to rule, Reyes said. We were here to remind you what it looks like when someone actually stands up. He turned to the girl from Eden's Reach, Lily, now safe among human medics and alien volunteers. She smiled at him for the first time. As the Terrans loaded into their transports, Reyes paused at the edge of the chamber and looked back once. The floor still bore the scuffed shreds of their tanks. Bloodstains hadn't been cleaned. Shattered tiles told the truth no speech ever could. "We brought tanks because you made words worthless," he said. "Next time, maybe we'll bring shovels. This galaxy has a lot of graves to dig." He left the chamber in silence, the kind that follows a storm. Behind him, a new alliance was forming, not through politics, but through pain, fury, and memory. The galaxy would never be the same.